extended periods of unemployment. What term life insurance can do all that? Western Reserve Alliance Advantage Term with living benefits. No other term insurance product bundles so many solutions to life's unexpected problems. And all in one policy. So for more information, call Brokers Alliance 1-800-290-7226. Stop selling the old term. Start selling the new.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone, the talk show that focuses on insurance in your practice. I'm Steve Savant, your host, financial color commentator, and interviewer extraordinaire. In this segment, we're with Susan Carlson, our top gal on long-term care. You can write her, susan.carlson@brokersalliance.com, or just call her 1-800-290-7226 at extension 140. Any quotes, anything we're talking about, especially corporate, group LTC, individual carve-out LTC, all those things, LTC in the corporate land, please call Susan. Now, I just want to remind everybody, because I have to say this just for our own disclosure issues, I'm not a legal or tax advisor, and so any of the strategies or comments we make in these arenas, remember to go and check with your CPA attorney, and if you're with a broker-dealer, your compliance officer before proceeding with any of the ideas that we're sharing. When I think about all that we want to do here today, and of course, we just don't do long-term care at Brokers Alliance. We're huge in the life annuity market, DI, all these other areas. If you want any quotes on any of those products, including group pension quotes, just call us at 1-800-290-7226, extension 147, or you can always write us here at the show, thebiz@brokersalliance.com, and we'll send it on its way. I'm looking at corporate. We're always, a lot of guys are elephant hunting out there. I mean, that's just the way we are. We are hunters, not gatherers, right? The dominant area of our practice are males, baby boomers out there trying to track down the bigger corporations to play at a larger level. And so when I think about corporate LTC, when I think about business, I know not many people are talking about it.
No.
I want to be the guy in talking about something distinctive. I want to be the person that's bringing in an anomalous idea, something they haven't heard before. Most people that are penetrating businesses and corporations are always targeting the basic 401k plans and things of that nature, maybe even succession planning. But I hardly ever hear anybody bring this up. Absolutely. And this is a great perk. As we said in the first segment, you were saying not only is it deductible to a C Corp, as in this example, but then when I receive the benefits, I pay no tax.
Correct.
So I love that. Talk a little bit about who am I prospecting? Who am I aiming at?
But who the group is extremely important in this particular market. And what we suggest looking at are businesses that are cash rich and that have the right makeup of employees.
This would be the time too, Susan. Everybody in the press keeps saying how we're holding back right now, right? And that there's serious trillions of dollars of cash sitting on the sidelines in businesses. So you're hitting this perfectly.
You bet. And just that the employee is the right makeup, meaning they can afford long-term care, they understand the need for it. So a lot of companies will do a 40-40-40 rule.
What's that?
I prefer a 50-40 rule.
Well, what is a 40-40-40 rule? And then tell me why you prefer yours.
40% of all employees make an average of $40,000 and are at the average age of 40.
Is that true?
I would bump
I love that.
Yeah. I would bump that up to $50,000. An average salary of $50,000. Again, average age of age 40 and above. And that's simply because that is your target market. That's someone that can afford this type of protection. They're out of an age that it's something I need to be thinking about. So looking at the right makeup, also that it is a company that does have cash in it. You could look at law firms. Medical offices are perfect because we don't know what's going to change with doctor salaries after healthcare reform really starts to kick in. So these types of organizations, software companies, those are who we have been having the best success with.
So if I'm looking at if 40% of my group is 40 years old and making $40,000, and we're trying to just get a little higher than that on the $50,000, that's our demographic in most of these corps. So give me a minimum size LTC. Is there something where you say, hey, the numbers really become substantial on the carve-out issue, on the group issue? What kind of population count do I need?
You could go as low as 3.
Really?
Because
And
you're
they'll still give you some breaks and underwriting concessions.
They will. A lot of times they'll give you a discount on the premium, like maybe a 5% discount. Now, for your underwriting concessions, though, just to be fair, it's usually 10 or more people that are buying the policy.
So you might get a 5% list bill discount.
Right.
But anything that really has a impact to it on underwriting, if I have 10 or more, that's where the numbers are going to start changing. Especially
if the employer's buying that. And those are questions that I would work with you on, finding out a little bit more about the business, what we need. Hey, if there's any way we can get them to buy 2 more policies, we can get this for that.
Do we have on our data collector when our producers call in?
Yes.
Do we have data collectors that kind of ask those questions of the group? So if you have a group in your mind right now and say, oh, I have something on my mind right now, Susan, well, you can call Susan at 1-800-290-7226, extension 140, or just write her direct, susan.carlson@brokersalliance.com. When I'm looking at that, and I look at my data and I fill it out, would you actually be able to get on the phone in a corporate? Because I know a lot of guys who listen, we're just dipping our toe into individual LTC. Now we're in the corporate LTC, and we are not knowledgeable yet, and maybe that holds us back. But I could see a lot of brave souls walking into a corporate setting with LTC as a vanguard or a tactical penetration, because they'll be the only guys probably bringing it up, I'm pretty sure. So how would you interface if somebody wanted to hop on the line with you? Because would you get on a phone call with the exec and in a conference call? Could you help our producers out in a scenario like that?
Oh, absolutely. I do it all the time.
So you set up a predetermined appointment. We all remember our time zone. We're in Arizona. We're on Mountain. Well, actually, we're not on Mountain Time now, but just remember we never change. There's only 2 states left in the union that don't change their time. And if you want to tell me who those are and send it to me in an email at thebiz@brokersalliance.com, I'll think out some cool reward we'll give you. I'm thinking about when I'm with a client and a business client, and I'm I'm talking about the deductions and the perks, that would make me feel a little bit intimidated that I'm not all together. Do we have basic crib sheets, kind of Rand McNally, kind of a Cliff Note version, I guess?
Oh, absolutely.
Of these kind of perks and so forth that we could send.
You bet.
So again, remember, just hop out to Susan, just say, hey, I want that. I want to know how to do that.
Okay.
And give me that perk. And it's susan.carlson@brokersalliance.com, and Susan will send it to you. Her staff is great. And listen, remember, that's all they do over there. They only do long-term care. They don't allow any other product in the door. Their little unit over at Brokers Alliance is right over in that section, and that's all they do. So if you want to get the data collection, any of the applications, any of the side-by-side. Now, when we do group quotes, how many quotes do you do if you find one that qualifies? Because now you did say that some people send you quotes for group and they don't qualify, and we could have stopped that all way up front.
Well, that's where I really want to be able to talk with the producer. I just want to find out a little bit more about everything that I can, because it might not be a fact of quoting several companies. It might just be one company that fits that scenario. So the more information I can get up front and the more conversation I can have with the producer, I will let them know, A, this is a good prospect, or B, not quite sure it's an ideal prospect.
But if it's not an ideal prospect for LTC group, it still may be an ideal prospect for corporate carve-out of executives.
You bet. Absolutely.
And that still may include the list bill discount.
Correct.
That still could get your underwriting concessions if you have probably 10 employees or higher. Correct. Or 10 execs or higher.
Right.
And these perks are really great. You were saying not only for cash-rich employers, but employees that are looking for additional benefits that don't cost them anything. Corporations will pick it up, but then when they receive the benefits, they're tax-free.
Absolutely.
So when you look about that, do you see many corporate settings, do they do continual pay on these products, or do they do the 10 pay if they're younger, or is it all over the board?
It's kind of all over the board. I'd have to say more than often enough, it is a lifetime pay. But for those few corporations who really want to take care of this, get this completely paid up, then we'll see the 10 pays come in. But now that I'm thinking more than likely it's a lifetime pay.
When I'm comparing, if I'm an individual, should I be asking an individual, do you belong to a company that pays any kind of benefits?
Absolutely.
Because I think we're going in sometimes kind of backwards, where we go to the individual, and we could have had this paid by his employer or part of it paid by his employer. And the employer likes it because it's another employee retaining tactic from a benefit point of view. I mean, I think this is a huge, especially as we get older. Once you get into the ARP nation past 50 and you're 55, like I am past 55, and I'm now getting my discounts as a senior. Woo, I love that. I want to be able to start looking at those kind of numbers. I was looking at it individually. I'm going to get list billing breaks and underwriting concessions, depending upon if I can get 10 or more. I'm just going to have a better shot at getting a better deal.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how do I prospect in a corporation. Let's not do the C, because that's the easy one, right?
Right.
Yeah, let's do the one that's like, hey, I'm a sole proprietor. I have an S Corp. I have an LLC, or I might even have a partnership. Okay. How do I go ahead and prospect for people like that?
Well, it all falls back to just the overall long-term care planning. That's where we have to start. So
if you had to insert it, would you insert it into business succession or business planning, estate planning, or retirement? Which one do you think it naturally fits in the big macro category?
I see it fitting at all, and I would play to the client, and I would see what their hot points are.
So you might, as a pre-interview, you say, I'll be able to pivot once I talk to you a little bit. So let's say you pivot to the client and you see, they're in the middle of business succession planning, and I'm sure that whoever's in there right now is doing whatever good job, whether it's a buy, sell, cross purchase, stock redemption, or wait and see trust. But maybe you say, I'm coming in because there's already a guy in here talking about that. I'm going to talk about long-term care. Again, distinction. And
I would add it to the business succession. Okay, now you're going to have all this in place, but it's all going to be blown up if you need long-term care and you're starting to have to deplete all of your assets. So I'm going to implement the plan that's going to protect everything that other producer has set up.
So whether the three basic premises in an employee is either going to be a retirement, a business, or an estate planning tactic, dovetail off any of those three and look like the distinction, because again, I still think long-term care is not being sold like it should be, and we have huge inroads into corporate America, whether it's a S Corp, LLC, and or partnership, or a big C Corp.
Correct.
So when I'm target marketing, I go in there, I get the interest of the client, right? I get the interest of the business. All I have to do is call you at 1-800-290-7226, extension 140, and you'll help me walk through this whole area.
You bet.
All right, and of course, you can also write her, Susan.Carlson@brokersalliance.com. Well, Susan, I want to thank you for talking about LTC in a corporate and a business scenario. Remember, you can always contact us here at the Business Insurance Network at thebiz@brokersalliance.com. Call us 1-800-290-7226. 147 is my extension, or hop out to our website at www.brokersalliance.com. I'm Steve Savant. You've been listening to the Business Insurance Zone. That's the buzz on the biz. Get into the zone. The Business Insurance Zone.
This has been a Bravo video event of the National Insurance Clearinghouse and Brokers Alliance, one of the largest distributors of insurance products and services to a nationwide network of insurance professionals. You can contact Brokers Alliance at brokersalliance.com or 1-800-290-7226, extension 147.